Wayne Rooney's next port of call. We'll be back over in the US with DC United, where, of course, he played. He was a player there in 2018. Now back, it would seem, heading back there as head coach. Does it surprise you? It surprised us, the haste with which he left Derby. We thought he'd stay at Derby, get them back up, but he didn't.
I'm surprised that he's now popping up in the States, in the MLS, although sometimes you are limited with the opportunities you've got, and you have to make the best of what's in front of you and choose the right decision based on what you've got. So I think I'm a bit nonplussed by it, really. It's if you do well there, you're kind of not given the credit because it's the MLS, and if you do badly there, you're not particularly criticised because people say it's not a great standard, you haven't got the players, and so it's neither here nor there, really. I don't think it's...
Well, I mean, that's the thing. How seriously can you take the MLS? For somebody with his pedigree, right, he went out there in the twilight of his career, of course, and he played. Right, that's fine. But now, if he's got anything about him managerially, is that necessarily the right port of call?
Not particularly, but I'll just allude back to the point I first made. What opportunities has he got other than that? If he doesn't have other opportunities and he wants to keep enhancing his coaching CV and his experiences, then do something.
Well, according to the narrative last week, he did a fabulous job at Derby and will be given an opportunity in the Championship and the Premiership. And when I pushed back upon it, everyone got upset about it. Okay, I'll give you a name that's got some relevance.
Who got upset?
People out there in the great orbit of Twitter and social media drivel. But the bottom line is I'll give you a name. Patrick Vieira, managed New York City, came in, managed Nice, managing Palace now. So you build your career. So he went to manage in the MLS. He, went over there, managed New York City. We all know why he went to manage New York City, because it was part of the City Group, Manchester City. But notwithstanding that, he went and managed the MLS. It was good enough to get him a job in La Ligue with Nice. Didn't particularly set the heather on fire there, but he's now at Crystal Palace. Everyone's raving about it.
I think there is an argument to suggest that maybe that job in the MLS, although it adds to his CV, probably wasn't the major factor in him getting a job in the French league. Maybe the fact he's got contacts, won the World Cup with him, won the European Championships, he's been a tremendous player, would have probably...
I think that's more
an Englishman going into a club like Nice in the French league would probably be...
Yeah, but we're talking about people that have been managing in the MLS and managing in the Premier League now. So here's your example, Patrick Vieira. Right now, as far as DC United is concerned, they just got stuffed 7-0 on the weekend by Philadelphia. It's a franchise that you would expect to do a lot better than it's currently doing. It's finished second to bottom in 2 or 3 of its last seasons out of the last 5.
Win-win.
It needs something there. Rooney, for me... and people think I've got some particular agenda against Wayne Rooney. I couldn't care less about Wayne Rooney. The player is one thing, the manager is another. We're talking about Wayne Rooney and the manager. At Derby County, I told you when Kirchner was involved in that mix, I think part of the attraction with Rooney staying there was this relationship that he had with America. Kirchner being an American, they thought we could leverage him in America. So he's back to America. If he wants to manage, why not? If this is the opportunity, he was never, ever, ever, ever going to get a job as a manager in the Championship. Or in the Premier League anytime soon.
According to you.
Well,
I don't know about the Championship. I
guarantee
you,
because he's done nothing to warrant it. Look at the teams that are in that Championship. I know that Derby finished 21 points, with a 21-point reduction, and they got to within touching distance. But often it's easier to galvanise a group of players when you've only got a certain amount there and you've got a certain amount of resolve and everything's against you than it is to build a side that actually you've got no impediments with, no excuses about.
Not that long ago, you changed your tune about Rooney.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. Play it then. I said that
you were applauding him for the job that he did.
I said he did better than I anticipated he would do. I said that he would get him fired in the first season and within 15 seconds of getting relegated in the first season, he was within 15 seconds of actually achieving that. Last year, he was completely impeded by the 21-point penalty.
I think his reputation was enhanced for the job he did under duress.
Then why is he going to America then?
Well, we were just talking about that.
And you said he's quite entitled to go to America.
If he could get a job in the Championship now...
You're saying he's not going to get a job in the Championship. I would have said he would have ultimately.
I don't think there are great opportunities for him, which is why he's going to America. My point is that the opportunities probably
and then you come back round again.
If they would come if he sits and waits, maybe, because there's always
no chance.
There's always a conveyor belt of managers in the Championship as the season progresses and teams do worse. But if you're not working, you're not enhancing your CV. So he's probably thought it's an opportunity. He knows the people out there. He's gone out there. As Simon rightly says, they're near the bottom. They're struggling like hell. There's probably only one way for them to go, and that's upwards and move forwards and do better. So in a way, he's probably thinking it's a no-brainer. I'll go out there, look good for a while, and then
he can go and set the heather on fire like his mate, the other Man United player, Phil Neville, whose team are fifth and bottom.
Well, that's a whole different...
So you've got a very low view of the MLS. But you've got a low view
I
of
had a
Rooney
team.
and what Rooney may or may not be able not to do in the world of management.
I just don't.
And you're sticking to that.
I just don't.
Even though you did something of a U-turn when he did pretty well at the end
What I
of
did was
Derby.
I gave fairness to the argument that he'd done better than I gave him credit for. I was critical. I felt actually it is important to praise. But what I'm not allowing to happen is the conflation between Wayne Rooney the player and Wayne Rooney the manager.
There's no conflation. But
There is you just said he's the top of this conversation was his reputation goes before. What reputation? He ain't got a reputation as a manager. He's got a reputation of a manager that's gone in there for 5 minutes. The team have got relegated, and the backdrop around it is the fact the club was in disarray. That doesn't give him a reputation; it just gives you a bit of a backstory on him. The reputation that Wayne Rooney's got is as a player. Teddy Sheringham had a great reputation as a player. Went down to Stevenage. What happened there? The bottom line is that at this moment in time, he's learning his trade, and I think that we should separate the two. Forget Wayne Rooney ever kicked a football as a player, and now look at him as a manager.
No, we have forgotten that he kicked the ball as a player, but what we do know is, and I think you'd agree with me, Danny, the MLS wants names. That's what they're all about. They want names. That's why Beckham's over there. That's why the likes of Vieira ended up at New York, as Simon says. That's why Lamps had to go at it as well out there. Rooney, sure, we'll take Rooney. That's what they want. He fits the profile. It's showbiz.
Yeah.
It's not serious soccer, but it's showbiz.
Well,
That's what it is.
I think they would.
They're not serious about
They would
it in any
oppose
shape
that
or
view.
form.
I think they would feel that they've come on leaps and bounds and tried to improve things.
Yeah.
I think the training facilities are better. I think the standard has gone up and up over the last few years. I think when you're looking at there is some validity
It's
in
a
the
name.
fact that
The
he's
name is
a big
everything.
name. Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. But in terms of his own personal progression, if there's nothing else on the table and that was the opportunity that's coming up, then good luck to him and fair play to him for taking something. Go out and work, keep learning, keep coaching, rather than sit on your backside waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
And that's right too. And of course Beckham got the franchise deal because of the LA Galaxy deal. He got a deal which was the next cab off the rank, was a franchise deal. None of it's Beckham's money, but notwithstanding it, he opened a gateway for this particular franchise. Took a long fun time for it to deliver. The American marketplace is they're competing against dominant sports. You know, we've got our national game is football. Their national game is NFL or basketball or baseball.
Yeah,
so the football's got
it's
to find its space amongst it.
Yeah.
The quality's getting much better. I put a team out there in 2006, and I saw us play against, Cleveland and other sides in the LA Galaxy, and the quality was poor. It is much better, and it's not a bad proving ground for people like Wayne Rooney, because they won't get a job in the Championship as it stands at this moment in time.
But I dispute that. Based on what? If he was to hang around.
Based upon what?
If he was
Based
to
upon
hang
fact.
around, I can guarantee you, come October, November, when they start going down and there are casualties managerially in the Championship,
also there's-
his name would be mentioned.
We'll
Jim,
never
there's
be able to know that because he's gone to America. We'll never be able to make another bet that you can pay out on, like the Newcastle bet that you're going to
wouldn't
lose
his
on.
name be in there in the frame?
Because there's nothing to indicate that he has the credibility and the capability, in my view, looking at him from an outside point of view, talking to other people around the game, looking at him and go, he's not at that level. I remember interviewing Tony Adams years ago when he thought he was at that level and he ended up Wycombe Wanderers. That, you can see what great players are, but necessarily great players aren't always great leaders with great standards and great outlooks in terms of managerial, because managerial isn't just about managing the players, it's about managing up.
Yeah, but I do think there would have been an opportunity at some point from a Championship club. I'm with you. When you look at some of the Championship clubs and the budgets they have, they might not be able to afford him, but if you look at some, I don't know, what was it? Blackpool took Neil Critchley from Liverpool, which was a bit of a risk. He's a coach at Liverpool. He's never managed first team, and he did well. Clubs do take risks depending on their circumstances.
Yeah, but but hold on.
Sam, you're the same guy that wasn't having Steve Cooper.
But hold on. No, I was the same guy that suggested he was a bridesmaid, not a bride, because he'd been into 2 playoffs.
Same thing.
I didn't, and I also said last year I think it would have been quite a decent fit for Palace. So it's
But
not a
it was
case of not
another
having him.
U-turn for you.
No, it's not a U-turn.
Of course it was.
Events overtook. When I said it, I was absolutely right. You asked me a question. What do you think of Steve Cooper? He's a bridesmaid, 2 playoff finals. It was right, wasn't it? At the time, a year goes past, the circumstances have changed. You take Rooney into a football club, you ain't taking Neil Critchley, you're taking Wayne Rooney in, so you've got every Herbert under the sun wanting to find out what's happening at your football club, dawn till dusk, because Wayne Rooney's in the dugout. If you're building
Some
a football
clubs
club,
might
you
like
don't. But some clubs won't like it, and a lot of clubs won't like it because Wayne Rooney will be bigger than the football club.
Yeah, but some clubs isn't all clubs. So they'll
Most
always be
sensible football clubs in the
but they'll always-
Championship.
I think the point. I'm only going to the point that we're trying to back Jimmy. Where I go, I do
But
think
your
that
one experience of the Championship was going to Blackburn, and what happened there?
5 managers in one season.
Well, yeah, and I would suspect that's because signed people like you.
Yeah, probably.
You've always had a thing about about Wayne.
No, I haven't.
Wayne called me up late one night to say, why have you got an agenda against him? And I'm quite sure he still feels that. And that's probably because you do.
I think he's got a good opportunity to go to America and learn his trade and come back a more rounded individual.
I agree.
And then we'll have the discussion. But what you do is you frame the conversation in a certain way. I give a very forthright answer, and then I get pitched in the middle like I'm against Wayne Rooney.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.